The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
Talking politics with Phil Goff.
Indeed, the leader of the Labour Party back with us once more. Good morning to you, Phil.
Good morning, Wammo.
Joining us, of course, from the airport, trying to get a flight in before the ash cloud returns.
I got caught last week. I was in Hamilton at the field days and wanting to get down to Christchurch, of course, after the latest earthquake down there, and sadly the ash cloud intervened and I wasn't able to get in. But today should looking okay. Everything looks like it's on time. We
live in interestingly weird times, don't we, Phil?
We do. I mean, just the terrible disasters over the weekend, particularly with the loss of life in Ohope of a young man that was crushed in an earthquake, and then the tornado in New Plymouth. So so things are a little bit rough for people that are affected in that way, but particularly I think we worry about the ongoing plight of people in Christchurch. They've just had to endure so much for so long.
Well, that's right. And looking at the rebuild of Christchurch, that was a landslide, by the way, just to clarify the Ohope situation, landslide, not an earthquake.
Sorry, did I say earthquake? Landslide, definitely a landslide.
It's earthquake on the mind, of course. The rebuilding of Christchurch and looking at the skilled labour, the government has admitted we're going to have to pull some people from overseas, but even those people that we pull from overseas may not have the full experience required to build, seismically sound buildings for the future.
Yeah, look, I've been talking about this for quite a long time and urging the government to get on with a skilled training program. It's over 10 months since the first earthquake, and it's a real concern that we've yet to see anybody taken on a skilled training program, and the government seemingly content to say, oh, well, we can import people from overseas who may or may not have the standards we require. But that's crazy when you think, we've got over 10,000 young people unemployed in Christchurch. We should be providing the skilled training to enable, those people in Christchurch to help rebuild their own city. I just can't understand why the government hasn't moved quicker on that.
There seems to be a shortage of skills right across the board because there's a lot of infrastructure building going on at the moment, looking at the ultra-fast broadband into the future as well. Now they say that we might not have the skilled workers to put that together.
Well, there's going to be a huge demand, particularly in the construction area. We're at a 40-year low at the moment in building new homes, and people have left the industry, people have gone overseas. But we've got a huge backlog of houses we need to build in Auckland. We've got the 10, they're now saying 12,000 houses to be rebuilt entirely in Christchurch. We've got the leaky home buildings. Really, this is an area that the government should have moved on. When you've got 150,000 New Zealanders out of work, and one industry alone says that they're going to be short of 90,000 skilled and semi-skilled people, in building and construction, you've really got to worry.
Yeah, we need cablers and cable joiners, apparently, for the ultra-fast broadband network. We don't have enough of those.
Yeah. Well, look, I think the skill shortage is right across the board, and we really need to act on that. It's just a disgrace that there is no national strategy in place to provide skilled training for people.
Phil,
that's the best way to deal with unemployment.
It is. I know you're heading off to the to the airplane. You're walking towards it now. Can you just before we go, have you got any advice for John Key? He's about to address the Australian Parliament today. Any advice for him?
Well, I think the obvious things is to thank the Aussies for the approach that they made both in Pike River, where they've been really helpful in dealing with that situation, but also with the Christchurch earthquake. Really impressive to see the Australian Prime Minister, Leader of the Opposition, and Governor-General come to New Zealand to show their concern about the plight of people in Christchurch. We've got a good relationship with the Aussies overall. It's very competitive, but it's a close relationship, and it's good to have the opportunity, first of all, to have Julia Gillard address our Parliament, and then to have our Prime Minister address the Australian Parliament.
Phil Goff, hey, thanks very much for your time this morning. Cheers.
Okay, thanks, Wammo. Catch up with you next week.
Right,
thanks,
bye.
Mate. Bye.
Leader of the Labour Party there, Phil Goff, on the way to catching a flight.